Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. We are going to be talking about my auto-buy authors. What I mean by that is if I heard this author was coming out with a book, I would immediately purchase it. So I have a number of authors that are like that for me. So we have quite a few books to go through today. And then as a little added bonus, we're going to talk about any new releases that these authors have if they have one coming up in 2026. So I've split it up between romance, fantasy, and like literary fiction. So we're going to start with romance. So the first author we have is Mariana Zapata. I have these gorgeous special editions of All Roads Lead Here and The Wall of Winnipeg in Me. I have actually only read one of Mariana Zapata's books, but if I heard she was coming out with a book, I would definitely buy it. I adore her writing. She is the queen of slow burn. Her books just add so much to a romance. It's not just a romance, there's so much depth to her characters, and it is so enjoyable to pick up one of her books and be lost in it. And you're not getting a kiss until very, very far towards the end. These books are insanely slow burn, but it is so worth it for what you get out of it. She has a number of books. I only have two of them, but I know she has a book called Colty and a couple others that I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty positive all of her books are slow burn. And unfortunately for us, she does not have any books at the moment expected to be released in 2026. Next, we have Jessica Joyce. She has only 3 books released at the moment, and I've read 2 of them. We have The X-Files and You with a View. These books are so sweet and so cute, and she just writes very beautiful stories. They're also very quick reads. They're under 350 pages, which is perfect. I really wish she was coming out with another book because these are amazing. The X-Files is a second chance romance, and You with a View, they're like on a road trip and falling in love with each other, and it's amazing. These are like perfect summer reads. All right, next we have Allie Hazelwood. She can write whatever she wants, and I'm going to be buying it. I adore her writing. She is mostly known for her STEM romances. I actually only have one of, which is The Love Hypothesis, but she also does something really cute with her books, and you get little glimpses of past characters like in her new books, which is really sweet. She also has, I think it's called Love on the Brain, which is another STEM romance, and that's kind of what she's like was known for. Her books were typically YA, so then we also have Checkmate, which I don't believe is a STEM romance, but they're playing chess. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't read this one yet, but her books are also very quick and very fast paced, and you're not going to want to put them down. And then she has a couple adult books that she's come out with more recently. So we have Not in Love and Problematic Summer Romance. These are interconnected. Not in Love follows Rue and Eli, and then Problematic Summer Romance follows Maya, who is Eli's sister, and Connor, who is Eli's best friend, and they are away for Rue and Eli's wedding. So this has a really cute little interconnection. I loved these books so much. More recently, she came out with Deep End. I think that was 2025 that she came out with this, and not a lot of people love this. This one is quite spicy, probably her spiciest book yet. You're following a swimmer and a diver, and they both are very particular about what they like in bed, so they strike up sort of like an arrangement, like a sexual arrangement, but of course they catch feelings. The girl's friends with his like ex, but they haven't told people that they broke up. It's a little messy, but I really enjoyed it. I had so much fun. And then I know I said I was talking about romances, but I'm already talking about Allie Hazelwood. She also has romantasy paranormal romances, so they're werewolf vampire romances. As of right now, there's only 2 books, Bride and Mate. Bride following Misery and Lo. Misery's a vampire, Lo is an alpha werewolf, and then Misery's best friend is Serena, and Serena is half human, half werewolf, one of the only 2 that exist, and she's also has a relationship with Cohen, who is an alpha of a different pack. In Mate, you get a lot of the main characters in Bride, obviously because the 2 girls are best friends, and the guys are friends also, but it's a little different. These are really good. also quite spicy, especially Mate. In one section, it's like 30 pages of like straight spice, which is a bit much, but the relationships that get built in these books are phenomenal. And Ali Hazelwood doesn't have a new book releasing. She has a book called Two Can Play coming out, which was originally an audiobook, but now it's going to be available in paperback, and that's expected February 10th of 2026. Next, we have Hannah Grace. She grew popular because of Icebreaker. This book blew up on Book Talk for being like a smutty ice hockey romance, and then the rest of the books in the series follow more players from the hockey team, and it's really sweet. There's a lot of found family going on. So this one, they're in college and you get like the college campus vibes, hockey games. And then this one, they're at a camp, which is so much fun. I really, really enjoyed this one, which is Wildfire. And then in Daydream, which is the newest one she's come out with, this one's also based on the college campus, but our female main character is a reader, and I love when authors do that. I think it's so cute. Hannah Grace also just released a book called Holiday Ever After, which is its own thing. It's separate from these books, but perfect to pick up for the upcoming holiday season. Next, we have Kaylee Smith. She writes, I guess these aren't romance either, they're like romantasy more so, but they're like paranormal-ish romances. We have Phantasma and Enchantra, I think is how you say it. Enchantra. I don't know, I probably sound so stupid. But there's 2 books so far, and there's possibly going to be a 3rd book coming out in April. The cover and the title have yet to be released, but I am so freaking excited. These books, in both Phantasma and Enchantra, there's games, kind of like magical games going on, and it is so much fun. And Phantasma follows one sister, and then Enchantra follows another sister, but they're dealing with some people from hell. Really, really fun time, and I cannot wait to see what more she's gonna write for this world, because at the end of this book you're introduced to a lot more characters, so there's a lot more people that she could let books follow, and I'm very intrigued to see who the next books are going to be about. Okay, the next author I'm sure you were expecting, because you can't talk about authors and not talk about Miss Emily Henry. So I have a decent amount of her books. I've read most of her books. 2 classics that I feel like everyone talks about when you say Emily Henry is Betrayed and People We Meet on Vacation. People We Meet on Vacation is actually been turned into a movie, and the movie is releasing in 2026. So no books from Emily Henry in 2026, but we do get a movie, so that's pretty cool, and I hope they do this book justice. I think most of the books that I've read from her have been over 4 stars. I don't think I've ever rated anything from her lower than that, which is really exciting. Like, her books, the way she writes a romance, it is so much more than a romance. There's so much emotion and depth to her characters. It's wonderful. We also have Happy Place, which is another super, super popular one. And Funny Story is a newer release. This is phenomenal. This is so good. The 2 main characters in Funny Story, they both got broken up with, and their exes get together, so then like they get together. It's like a whole thing, and I loved it. And then her newest release is Great Big Beautiful Life. I know a lot of people did not particularly enjoy this, and I thought it was amazing. You're following a whole separate storyline apart from the one that you're actually following. You get like, I don't want to spoil anything, because I think it'd be fun to go into this like kind of blind, but there's also sort of like almost competition aspect. I don't know. It's really good. And then I think one of the only Emily Henry books that I haven't read is Book Lovers. I don't know why I haven't picked it up, because I know people love this one, and I've seen a lot of people say like this is their favorite Emily Henry book, so I definitely want to pick it up soon. Yeah, we'll see, but she is a great author to get into romance that's more than just smut, which I feel like is an issue going on in the book community. Is a lot of books is just smut. Like, I'm sorry. I want emotion more than just, that kind of stuff on paper. Next, we have Abby Jimenez, who loves a good interconnected series. She has, I think, 3 at this point interconnected series. Definitely missing some books. I think I lent some books to my stepsister, but I don't remember the order and what series go with what series, because Abby Jimenez also, I think all of her books are available in Kindle Unlimited. So I read some on Kindle Unlimited and I have some physically. A lot of her books involve animals and like meet cutes. I think my favorite book of hers is Just for the Summer. This book is phenomenal. I believe we're following a traveling nurse and she's trying to not get too attached to someone. But basically, the two main characters both feel like they're cursed and that anyone that they date then finds their true love right after. So, of course, they have to be each other's true love. But there's a lot more going on in this book, and I love how there's so much extra emotion besides just the romance. There's so much going on with the characters in their own personal lives. And then Abby Jimenez's newest release is Say You'll Remember Me. A lot of people didn't enjoy this. I liked it. It wasn't my favorite. It deals with Alzheimer's, which I just find so incredibly sad in books. So it was just hard to read. They basically go on the best first date ever and they can't get each other out of their minds, but the female main character is moving back home and it's like across the country and they like can't really make it work. It's like a whole thing. Oh, this is cute. There's like a pretty like end pages. Everything starts with you and ends with you. That's cute. All right, next we have, I would say, the queen of summer reads. We have Carly Fortune. She, I believe, has one more book out that I don't have. Every Summer After and One Golden Summer are interconnected, and these are the perfect by the pool reads. Oh, you know what I just realized? I forgot to tell you guys what new release Abby Jimenez has coming out. On March 31st, she is coming out with The Night We Met, which is the second book in the interconnected series with Say You'll Remember Me. It's a boyfriend's best friend, so that'll be interesting. Anyways, back to Carly Fortune. Perfect little beach pool reads when the sun is shining. Definitely pick these up. They're super quick. I read both of these in a day when I was on vacation. This one is childhood best friends, and then a brother from this one is the main character in this one, and the girl like watched them play when she was little and she wanted to be part of the group so bad, but she never was. And then This Summer Will Be Different, I believe, is best friend's brother. So good. It's based in Canada, PEI, I believe, and perfect summer read. I devoured this book, and of course, lucky for us, she has a new release. It's called Our Perfect Storm, which is another childhood best friend, and it's coming out May 5th. So keep your eyes peeled. Go pre-order that because you're going to want it for the summer. Next, we have Ashley Poston. Ashley Poston does a ton of magical realism, so there's always a really fun little magical element. So 7 Year Slip, I feel like this book kind of put her on the map. The female main character is living in her grandmother's apartment, and the apartment switches back and forth between 7 years. Like it can go 7 years in the past, and there's someone living there 7 years in the past. So sometimes she sees him, sometimes she doesn't. So that's just a little glimpse into what she does, and I think it's so fun. And a novel love story, the main character gets put into her favorite book series, like into that world. Amazing. I love this. And then I haven't read these two yet, but we have Sounds Like Love and The Dead Romantic. This is also one of her more popular books, and Sounds Like Love is new release, and somehow they're connected through music. I know people weren't as much as fans as of this one. I think there's a lot of miscommunication in here, but I'll have to read it to form my own opinion. And she has a book called The Someday Garden coming out June 16th, and it's a magical garden. I think the main character is following a map and someone's trapped in the garden. Sounds like something up my alley, so I'm very excited for that. And then we have Annabelle Monaghan. These books are amazing. I read every single one of her books. Only one of them I wasn't a huge fan of. I forget what it's called, but the main girl not cheats, but like emotionally cheats on her fiance, and I don't like that. But Nora Goes Off Script, Summer Romance, and It's a Love Story. These are amazing. They're all single mom romances, and I love that she does that because the moms are always working so hard for their kids, and it's such a beautiful story. And she has another book coming out on May 26th. It's Dolly All the Time. It says it's a single mother romance and she enters a Pretty Woman situation. I've never seen Pretty Woman, so I don't know what that means, but these books are a little more mature, and I really like that because sometimes in romances you're following very young characters, and in her books they're usually 30 and up with kids, and there's a lot more at stake if a relationship doesn't work out, and I really like that. And then our last romance author is actually probably my new favorite romance author, and I just found her this year. I've read all of her books. It's Lila Sage. So she has one completed interconnected series, which is the Meadowlark series. These are cowboy romances. They're amazing. You get a number of different tropes in these, and they are so fast paced. I read each of these in one day. They're so good. This novel is in Sweetwater Peak, but they are like still connected, but they're different towns. So it's in the same world, but there's different towns, and you find out a connection between the two in Soul Searching. And this is a paranormal romance. Really interesting. It's not scary at all, but the main girl character can talk to ghosts. And then hopefully we might be getting the second book in the Sweetwater Peak novel in the summer of 2026. So fingers crossed, because that one is following the girl's twin sister. Okay, so moving forward, we're going to talk about the fantasy authors that we have. So first, easily one of the most popular fantasy authors, we have Sarah J. Maas. I have read the whole ACOTAR series, the whole Throne of Glass series. I have yet to start Crescent City, but ACOTAR is a great way to get into fantasy, like romantasy. There's some politics to it, but it's nothing crazy that's hard to follow, and it's really fun. There's a lot of plot twists that you wouldn't be expecting. Throne of Glass is a little more politically driven. There's like 8 books, I believe, so there's a lot more going on, and there's a lot more at stake. But also, Sarah J. Maas has all of her worlds be interconnected, and you'll figure that out when you read them. The only reason I haven't read Crescent City yet is because it's an urban fantasy. I've never read urban fantasy before, and it's weird to me that we'll be in a fantasy novel, but they'll have like a phone. Like, that is so bizarre to me. But if you're looking for a way to start reading fantasy, I would definitely check out ACOTAR. But like, you have to get through the first book and then the second book, and the rest of them are amazing. The first book, some people find it starts off a little slow. I personally don't think so, but I know some people have said that. In terms of new releases for Sarah J. Maas, hopefully we'll get ACOTAR 6. Sarah J. Maas did post and say that she finished writing it, but I don't know if it's gonna get published yet. We'll have to see. Next, we have Rachel Gillig. She comes up with the most insane magic systems ever. They are so interesting. So we have one completed duology from her, and it's the Shepherd King duology. So we have One Dark Window, Two Twisted Crowns. It's following a magic system having to do with these cards. It's very interesting. And the main girl character, she has someone stuck in her head. You have to give it a shot. It's so interesting, and there's a lot of unexpected romances going on. Even just the covers of these are so pretty. And then she just released The Night and the Moth, which is also going to be duology, and this also has a very insane magic system. I don't know how she comes up with these. It's a bit difficult to explain. I would say you just have to get into it. It is so good. This one did take me a little bit to get into, but the way she writes, you want to keep reading because you want to know what's going on. So there's a lot of plot twists, there's a lot going on, and it leaves you on the fattest cliffhanger. So hopefully, I believe we're supposed to get The Knave and the Moon, which is the second book to this duology, on September 1st. So that's really exciting. Next, we have V.E. Schwab. She is one of the authors that actually got me into reading. I believe like my first 5-star ever was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. The main girl, Addie, she makes a deal with the devil because she wants to be able to get away. I think her deal is that she like wants to live forever, but in turn with that, she lives forever and no one can remember her. As soon as they walk away from her and they turn around, they forget her, which is really upsetting, so she never has a genuine connection. The ending of this book is heartbreaking. I definitely want to reread it soon. V. Schwab also has a couple series out. I have one of the series, which is A Darker Shade of Magic. I've only read the first one, but it is so good. She just has a way with her writing. I don't know how to explain it. If you've read some of her books, you understand what I mean. It is very enticing, and even if nothing is going on, it still makes you want to keep reading. So she has A Dark Shade of Magic, and then I believe she has a series called Villains, I think, which I've also heard a lot of good things about, and also a lot of her books are on Kindle Unlimited. And then she just came out with Bare Bones in the Midnight Soil. Everyone says it's lesbian vampires. I have not read it yet, but I am very intrigued by it. Her stories are very deep. There's a lot going on, and you feel so connected to the characters. So diving into one of her books is something I need to like prepare myself for. She does have a book coming out on April 7th. It's called The Ending Writes Itself. It sounded like it's like a competition mystery. Interesting, but it's written by V. Schwab and Kat Clark under the pen name Evelyn Clark. So it is available for pre-order. It sounds very interesting, so I think I'm gonna pre-order it, so you should go check it out. Next we have R.F. Kuang. She reads very deep emotional stories. They take a little bit to get into, but they're definitely worth it. So she has the Poppy War trilogy, and look at these gorgeous special editions. The third book special edition isn't out yet, so hopefully that's coming out in 2026. I didn't look at that, but I've only read the first one so far, and I was so not enamored, enraptured. I don't know if that's a word either. I was so captivated by the story, and I definitely need to watch a recap so I can get back into it. There's a lot going on, and sometimes the writing, I feel like not very advanced in how I read. I read a lot of like simple books, I feel like, that aren't that hard to digest, and her books take a little bit of brain power, but the story is so good. So I definitely need to continue the Poppy War series. And then she also has a book called Yellowface, which is super, super popular. I believe you're following a character who stole the work of another author, which is pretty interesting. And then she just came out with Catabasis, I think is how you say it. And this edition is just gorgeous. I think it's so pretty. And I'm not exactly sure what's happening in this one. It's something to do with hell, I believe, but I don't think it's like a demon sort of like that kind of situation. It says the story of a hero's descent to the underworld. Should be pretty interesting. But like I said, her books take a little bit of brain power. It's not just like, oh, let me pick up this like quick little read, but also they're very worth it. And then in September, she is coming out with Tai Pie Story. I might be completely butchering that, and I'm not quite sure what it's about, but keep your eyes peeled. Next, we have Rebecca Ross, who actually has quite a number of books, but she has some very beautiful, beautiful stories. So what most people know is we have the Divine Rivals duology. This has a very interesting magic system. We're in war. They have magical typewriters. These stories are absolutely stunning. And then she just came out with Wild Reverence, which it's in the same world as Divine Rivals, but it's thousands of years before, and you're following one of the gods, which is really interesting. I just love the way she writes. It's so beautiful, and magic system in this is not complicated. The politics aren't too crazy. It's very much so a love story, but there's also so much more happening. These books are phenomenal, and the cliffhanger on Divine Rivals, absolutely insane. Criminal. She has a couple other books, I believe. I have A River Enchanted, which I haven't read yet, and I believe that's a part of a series, and I think she has a couple other series, so I'm definitely intrigued to dive into those because her writing is just out of this world. She does not have anything yet scheduled for 2026. All right, so then we have Stephanie Garber. She probably has the best intro fantasy series ever. We have the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. These books are amazing. I stayed up so late to finish the books in this series. They keep you on the edge of your seat. You want to keep reading, but there's not really politics going on. And it's like a strong romance, sort of like whimsical writing. It's so much fun. And she has another, I think it's a trilogy. She has another trilogy called Caraval, and that takes place before Once Upon a Broken Heart. So if you haven't read Once Upon a Broken Heart, read Caraval and then read these. I haven't read Caraval because I feel like it might be weird to read it if I've already read Once Upon a Broken Heart, but let me know. She just came out with Alchemy of Secrets, and this is supposed to be a duology or a trilogy, I believe. And there's a lot of not knowing who to trust, what's actually going on, what things are the truth or what things are lies. I haven't read this yet, and I've heard some mixed reviews, but I am very intrigued, especially because she is a very like whimsical writer. There's nothing confirmed from her for 2026, but exciting news. She is working on a Jax and Evangeline novella, which is the main characters in the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. That is so exciting. And then she's also working on the second book in Alchemy of Secrets. Okay, and then we have Sarah Beth Durst. I have just discovered her very recently and I am obsessed. She writes the most perfect cozy fantasies ever. They're so sweet. They're mixed with little magical friends and spells and romance, and they're so sweet. They literally are a big fat hug in a book. It's amazing. So we have the Spell Shop and the Enchanted Greenhouse. These are interconnected, and then in 2026 she is coming out with Sea of Charms, which is going to be the third book in this series. That will be on July 28th, and then she has another book coming out in 2026 on March 12th, which is called The Faraway Inn. It's a magical inn. These books, please read them. If you've never read a cozy fantasy, perfect way to get into it. Phenomenal. I am so obsessed with her writing. And then keeping up with the cozy fantasy, we have Songu Mandana. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but we have the Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. This book is so cute, and she has another book. I don't quite remember what it's called, but it has a pink cover. And that's also, oh, I think A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. I don't know if that's interconnected with this, but it sounds like it might be, which is interesting. And there are actually some pretty crazy plot twists going on in this book. Like, there's almost like a mystery element, which is really fun. And again, it's just really, really cute and sweet. I am excited to see what else she puts out because I love a witchy book that's not like scary witchy. Okay, so that was the end of the fantasy books, and now we're gonna get into the literary fiction. I don't have too many for this category because it's something I'm still trying to get more into. First, we have Kristen Hanna. She has so many books out that I have not read, but if she's coming out with a new one, I would definitely read it. So I have Firefly Lane, and then there's a sequel to it called Fly Away. This book is gut-wrenching, following two women being best friends, trying to figure out how to grow up together and still fit each other into their lives. It is a beautiful story, absolutely heartbreaking. And then we have The Women. This book is during a war. I forget which war it was, I'm sorry. But the female main character in here wants to go to war to help, and people don't even realize that there's women in the war and they're the nurses and they're doing a lot, and people don't even give them credit for it. I believe it was the Vietnam War, I think, is the one that we're following in this. And I know she just writes a lot of emotional stories, so if you're looking for something emotional and you want to cry, definitely pick up a Kristen Hanna book. Unfortunately for us, she does not have anything coming out in 2026, but there will be a release in 2027. When I'm saying that she has a ton of books, she has so many. There's so many different people and characters and stories that you're following. So if neither of these sound like they're for you, she has so many other ones and you can still get her beautiful writing. All right, then this author I kind of just threw in here because if he put out a book, I would buy, but I've only read one of his books, and it's Matt Haig. I've read The Midnight Library. I love this book. I think if you're feeling lost or you're kind of questioning yourself, wondering why did I do this, why did I do that, definitely pick this up. It will give you some insight if you believe in like the butterfly effect or like everything happens for a reason, that sort of thing, that I think this would really resonate with you. He writes sort of self-help, but in the form of fiction instead of nonfiction, and I really like that because I personally don't really enjoy nonfiction, but you can still get some life lessons from his books. And he does have a book coming out in 2026. It's on May 26th, and it's called The Midnight Train. It's a time traveling love story. So we'll see. Time traveling stresses me out, but I'm sure it's gonna be amazing. The next author we have is someone who I only started reading this year, but I am obsessed. It's Frederick Bachman. He has a number of books as well, but he writes stunning stories. His writing is insane. The way he tells his stories is just, it's insane. You want to keep reading, and you're usually told what's going to happen at the beginning of the book, and then you're still surprised about what happens because it's the way he words everything. And all of the descriptions for his book are like so like simplified, but there's so much depth to the books. So arguably one of his most popular books is the Beartown trilogy. You're following a town that loves hockey. That's what you get, like in the descriptions. That's kind of what everyone says, but there is so much going on. There is a traumatic event that happens in the first book, and then you're following in the rest of the books what happens after that and what happens to this town who loves hockey. Insane. I cried so many times while reading these. And then we have Anxious People. You're following a bank robber who tried to rob a cashless bank and an open house, and he's holding people hostage. Again, there's so much more going on with these characters. This is such a short book too. It's just over 300 pages, and there is so much depth to these characters, and get a good giggle from this one too. I have this book sitting in the sun on my bookshelf, and the cover has like been like, this is what the back of it looks like, and then this is what the front looks from the sun damage. This one is My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry. Again, another beautiful story, and you're following a little kid actually in this one, which is interesting. And then A Man Called Ove, or Ove, A Grumpy Old Man. It's actually a movie, A Man Called Otto. You probably have seen the ads for it. This is probably his most popular book. I haven't read this one yet, and I really, really want to, because I think this will be like sort of a heart-wrenching story. And then his newest release is My Friends. You're following a woman who's like obsessed with this painting, which is the painting you see on the cover, and I think you get the story behind the boys in the painting. Super interesting. He genuinely is one of the most talented writers I've ever had the privilege of reading, and I will buy anything that he puts out. I believe he also has a nonfiction. I think it's Stories to Tell My Son or something like that. And as of right now, he has nothing for 2026. The final author of this video is Taylor Jenkins Reid. She is a phenomenal author, so emotional and gut-wrenching. I've only read 2 of her books, but I'm obsessed. So I read Daisy Jones and the Six, and you're following a band, and it's so interesting. This is actually a show now also, and she has like a Hollywood series with, I think I'm missing one, but Daisy Jones and the Six, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and Carrie Soto is back. This is tennis. This is following a Hollywood icon. I believe you're getting someone's like interviewing her, I think, which is really interesting. And I think there's more books in this Hollywood series. They're not really interconnected, but they're all following like stars basically, and like how the fame has affected them. And then her newest release is Atmosphere. This book is so emotional, following women trying to go into NASA, the first women going to space, that whole sort of thing. And it says Atmosphere love story. There's 2 love stories going on in this. There's like an unexpected love going on. It is truly a beautiful story, and it goes back and forth in timelines. You get like the present, and then it will go back to the main character's first time at NASA, and like how she's learning how to do her job and the training and all of that. And then it switches back to the present every so often because there's something happening. It's insane. The writing in this is wonderful. I cried with this one, and I cried to Daisy Jones and the Six. And she has nothing coming out in 2026. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the video. If you also like these authors and you think of someone else that you think I might like, please let me know, because I'm always on the lookout to try to read new people. And I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye!